Hockey town, going down to hockey town, whoa, whoa. Hockey town, take me down to hockey town, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hello, hockey fans. The Minnesota Hockey Connection show is on the air. We're at PACT-TV studios in Duluth, and it's Monday, April 25th. Well, the big news probably of the week is how good the Wild are playing and how the top players are really doing good lately. And so number one concern probably will be, like last night, Jared Spurgeon got hurt, and we don't know how bad yet, but we've got to stay healthy for the playoffs. We know we're going to play St. Louis Blues, and the home field advantage is going to be big on this, so that's what we're fighting for right now. We know we're going to play them, so we just don't know if we're going to be the home or the away for the starting two games. So let's get going. The Minnesota Wild, first time in, I think, in their history that they've gotten over 100 points. They got 109 right now, and there's 3 more games all at home. They got Tuesday night, the 26th. They got Arizona here, the Coyotes, and then Thursday and Friday, 2 big games with Western Conference, the leaders in their divisions. We got Calgary on Thursday night at the XL, and then Colorado comes in. Wouldn't it be nice if we can get by St. Louis and then play Colorado probably down the line? So we'll see. It's going to be some big games coming up, and see who gets the home field advantage right now. So then Colorado looks like they're either going to play Dallas or Nashville. And last night, the Minnesota Wild won 5-4. Another overtime victory. I don't know how they do it, but 5-4 and against Nashville. And St. Louis and Minnesota both have 109 points. Boy, I tell you what, hockey's been strange this year. All the good Eastern teams, first time in history of hockey, all 8 playoff teams have 100 points. And that's amazing. So that means the good teams are playing very good, and the bad teams are playing very bad. So over there, they know the 8 playoff teams about 3 weeks ago. And now we're just finishing up. We knew 6 of our teams, but we're just waiting for the 2 wild card teams. And right now it looks like Nashville and Dallas probably will jump in that. So then again, we got Arizona. The Minnesota Wild have Arizona Tuesday night. Thursday night we got Calgary. And then Friday night, the end of the regular season, we got Colorado. Calgary and Colorado are number 1 in their divisions. So moving on, St. Louis, their last 3 games, they beat Anaheim last night. They have 2 games left. So they got Colorado at Colorado, and then they got Vegas at home. So pretty tough games for both teams. So hang on, and we'll see by next week. We'll know if we're at home or we're going down to St. Louis for the opening playoff game. Some news this last couple of weeks. I'm looking at some stuff that happened. Cam Talbot, he got his 200th victory. Kaprizov, first player in Wild history to get 100 points. The most assists ever. Right now he's at 50. Well, I don't know if he got one last night. I think he did get an assist last night. So he might have 57 now. But 45 goals, the most in Wild history. Kevin Fiela, 82 points. Both Kirill and Kevin Fiela are left wingers, and I think they're the top two left wingers now in Wild history and points they got for the regular season. Fiela had 82 going into last night, and I know he got one goal. I don't know if he had an assist. And then Matt's Zuccarella, he was off, a little injury there, 79 points. Ryan Hartman, 62 points. Joel Eriksson-Ek, 44 points. Marcus Verligno, 39 points. And Matt Boldy, 37 points. The thing about Matt Boldy, he's only played 43 games, a little over half before he came in late in the season there. And he's been, boy, people open their eyes and knowing that this kid's for real and he's going to be around for a long, long time. So, but the Wild have, they got Kirill with 45 goals, but they got 2 with 30 points, and they got 3 with 20 goals. So they got a lot of players with a lot of goals this year. St. Louis, they have 1 with 30, and I think they got 7 with 20. So it's going to be a lot of players that you got to watch out for in the series with St. Louis, where both teams will have a lot of players that can score goals. And I think it's going to be a great series, and I think the team with has a home field advantage is going to win the series 4-3. So we'll see and wait. So we'll know probably in a couple, 2, 3, 4 days. So good luck to the Wild. And like I saying, we got a lot of injuries right now. I'm just looking. We got Matt Zuccarella. He's been out. Marcus Foligno. He's out. Spurgeon's out now. Greenway's out. Who else was out? Dumba. Matt Dumba. And I was just looking at the salary cap and that. In a lot of ways, the Wild look pretty good. They got almost all their players contracted, the best players contracted out for at least a couple of years, and a lot of them for 3, 4, 5 years. And it's only 2 players I see where they're going to have problems signing. This right now it's Kevin Fiela. He's unrestricted free agent. Oh, he's a restricted free agent, come to think of it. So, but we have to match whatever any other team comes up with. So I hope we can make a deal with him, and Billy, the general manager, can work out something, because we're in trouble with Parisi and Suter salaries that we have to pick up, dead money. The next 3 years we got 12.5 for next year, and then 14.5 for the next 2 years after that. That's just dead money that we got to pay Parisi and Suter. And never again I can see a team giving a 10-year contracts to players like that. 5 years I can see, but 10 years, no way, because this is going to hurt the team. Just think of what they can get for $14 million. They can get a good goalie, a good top 4D, and a top 6 forward on that money. And what would the team look like then? Whoa. I think this team, I'll tell you one thing though, this team is very exciting. Very exciting when you go to the XL Energy Center. I mean, the fans are into it, and they just love the offense this team does. I think they have to work on their special teams. They haven't been that great this year. They go in spurts sometimes on the power play, but really it hasn't been that great. And their special teams, a lot of work on that, because they got to find the right. But with injuries, it's hard to get the right people when you have to change players all the time. But just to go over some of the salaries that top players, Kirill Kaprizov, he signed for another 4 years with $9 million a year. Matt Zuccarella, He's got 2 more years. Joel Eriksson Ek just signed. He's going to get $5,250,000 for the next 5 years. Marcus Foligno, he's get 2 more years after this year. That's about right because of his age and that. And, you want him around for his hitting, probably more than his goal scoring, but he scored a lot of goals this year. Jordan Greenway, he's in for another 3 years at $3 million. Ryan Hartman, he's got 2 years and he's only getting paid $1,700,000. So that's gonna, if he keeps playing the way he does, I don't think the Wild can afford him in another year and 2 years to re-sign him. We'll see, but there's a lot of things going on there. Freddie Grudel, he's only got 1 year, but he's only getting paid $1,200,000. But here's the one, he's on his rookie contract, Matthew Boldy. Mr. Boldy, he's only getting paid his rookie contract of $880. But I'll tell you what, they're going to have to sign him next year to like a 5-year, $5 million a year, I bet, to keep him. Then Kevin Fiela, the way he's playing is amazing. I haven't seen a player in a long time that's been so hot the way he has. And I think he's going to get close to $8 million a year if the Wild can re-sign and find a way to do it. But then there's a lot of role players like Nick Bukestad and Nick Delarius and Connor Dewar and Brendan Duhame. They're all young players and role players. And role players they can pick up anywhere in the league. So I don't think they'll be missing out. They like to keep these players because they're playing together. But in defense, we got Spurgeon for 5 years. We got Brodeen. So those are the two best D. Dumba only has 1 year left on his contract at $6 million. Goligoski just signed for 2 more years. At his age, I think he can play 2 more years because he's pretty consistent this year. And he is the most plus-minus player on the team at defense. So he plays smart out there, and I think he's going to be a great player for another 2 years. And then the other D, they can pick up someone somewhere else. If they lose one, it's not going to miss too much. But I think the player that might be gone is Matt Dumba, because he has a $6 million contract, and they need to sign Fiela. And we'll see what happens there, but it's going to be a lot of negotiating on different things to get the contract under the salary cap. And let's see, who else is on the team? Oh, for the goalies, we only got Talbot for 1 more year, and he's at just under $4 million a year. I don't think they'll sign Fleury anymore for another year, unless because he's getting paid $7 million for the rest of this season, and I don't think the Wild will ever pay that much for a goalie at this time. So time will tell, but for the most part, a lot of the good players are going to be here for a while, and we just got to sign 2 players in the next 2 years. This year we got to sign Fiela, and then next year Boldy. And if we can do that, the Wild should look pretty good. But I'd say they'll be a little light on D, and so they got to be healthy. But overall, I think the Wild will be a very strong team for a Stanley Cup for the next 3 years. Let's see who we got going now. I was just looking over the goalies stats, and Talbot has played 48 games, and he's at 2.78 goals per game and 911 save percentage. And then Fleury has only played 8 games since he's become a Minnesota Wild player, and he's 2.64, and he's .918 save percentage. So that's, to me, is about average. I mean, I don't think they're great goalies. They're getting up there in years, but they can. With the two of them, I think the Wild can go far in the playoffs, though, because they got a lot of players. They just got to be healthy. Let's see what we got going here. And looking at St. Louis goalies, they're not much better. They got Billy Hustle, 38 games at 2.46. In Bennington, he's got 3 goals, 0.1 a game, and 902 save percentage. So the goalies on both teams on first playoff round are going to be pretty much alike. On defense, Justin Falk is leading scorer. He's a South St. Paul boy for St. Louis. He's got 15 goals on defense, so that's a lot of goals for a defenseman. So he's playing good, and they got Nick Leddy over there now. He started out with the Wild, then he went to Chicago, then New York Islanders, then to Detroit. Now he's at St. Louis. So he can skate. So we got 2 Minnesota kids to watch when you watch this series. So I'm looking at UMD now. UMD came out with their schedule, early this year. They usually never come out until in the summertime, but they're going to start out with non-conference games right away in October. They're playing independent team Arizona State, and at October 1st, 2nd, start at home. And then they take the next week off, and then they go to Minnesota State, who was second place in the NCAA D1 Frozen Four. And then they got Wisconsin at home. We haven't had Wisconsin for a while up here, since probably the WCHA, I think. But of those, and then we got Cornell at the end of October, 28th, 29th. So Arizona State, they're building a new stadium now. I've heard it'll fit about 5,000 fans. And there's a team, all these new independent teams, they got to find a home in the league to help them out, because it's hard scheduling. So Arizona State, it'll be interesting to see them right away. Then we go into our conference play. We go out to Colorado College on first week of November, and we didn't play them last year out there. We just played them here, but this year we got home and away. And they got a brand new stadium right off campus there, and it'll be nice to see the new stadium. I like looking at these new stadiums they have out there. And like I said, Arizona State's building their new stadium as we speak. But then other conference games with the NCHC, we got Omaha at home, then we go to Western Michigan, and then we're off the last week, Thanksgiving week in November. Then the first 2 weeks of December, we got Colorado College back here, and then we got the national champions, Denver, here. Then in January, we got a home and away, or away and home, with Bemidji State. So we go up to Bemidji State the first weekend on Friday, and then we come back here, play Bemidji State. Then we're back to our conference games at Omaha, at North Dakota. We don't get North Dakota here this year. We got St. Cloud State here on the last week of January. And then we got Western Michigan. Then we're off a week. And then the middle of February, we're out at Denver. And then we got Miami. And then we get into March. We go to St. Cloud the first week of March. And then we got the playoffs 10th through 12th, which is the same time as Minnesota State High School tournament. And then we got NCHC Frozen Face-Off down at the XL the week after, 17th and 18th. Regionals. The West has one city only this year again, and that's going to be out in Fargo. That's where I probably will go, because Tampa has the Frozen Four this year, and that's April 6th and 8th. hey, if you want to get down to Florida and have some fun, nice weather usually, and I'd go down to Tampa for the Frozen Four. It's April 6th through the 8th. In the following years, we come back to St. Paul. The following year in 2024, then we go to St. Louis 2025, and then Vegas, Las Vegas 2026. There's some great cities there, so it'll be fun in the Frozen Four the next 4 years. And then I was just looking at college, all the players, this transfer portal is driving me nuts. I don't like it at all, but because it screws up all the kids that these colleges recruited, and all because they got transfers, they can't bring in these recruits, so these recruits have to play another year of juniors. And just going over some of the Minnesota D1 teams, Minnesota doesn't have any team any player right now in the transfer portal, but UMD has two. They got a goalie, Matthew Thyssen, a goalie from Maine, and then they got a Miami of Ohio defenseman, Derek Dashicki. So we got two players in the transfer portal that'll be playing at UMD this next year. St. Cloud State has three. They got a Union defenseman, Dylan Mahorn. They got Grant Cruikshank, forward from the University of Minnesota. Gopher. He was at Colorado College year before, so this is his second transfer. And then Dominic Bassi, a goalie from Colorado College. St. Thomas has, looks like three players. Luke Perinovich, a defenseman from Providence. They got Garrett Daly, defenseman from Bowling Green. Grant Doctor, who played for the Minnesota Wilderness in the Junior League, the North American Hockey League up here at Cloquet this year before. So he was over at Michigan Tech. Very nice player. So I think St. Thomas got a really nice player there. And then Mac Byers, a forward from Northern Michigan. And then the last, let's see, we got Bemidji State. We got Jackson Judding, Colorado College transfer. Mitch Martin, Canisius player, forward. And then we got, let's see, Manny Lincoln Hatton. Where is he from? Maine. So St. Thomas picked up 4 and Bemidji State 3. So a lot of transfers coming into the state this next year for D1 college. I was down at grade 8. A lot of hockey going on right now. People don't know that this game, if you want to get to the next level, you almost have to play hockey all year round. And I'm not a fan of it, but it is what it is right now. Grade 8 was down at South St. Paul. That used to be many years ago where the grade 8, they put teams together from every section, and they make a team that would go to the Chicago Showcase, where elite teams from all the different states that have hockey would come into Chicago, and they'd play each other, and Minnesota would win almost every year. I mean, slaughter some teams. So that's why they stopped it, because it wasn't fun. But now we got the grade 8, and what they do is they'll pick one team. They have 2 sections, like they'll have 1 and 3, section 1 and 3 on both A and AA, and make a team. So they have 4 teams on the seniors and 4 teams on seniors to be that are turning 18 right now. So, and out of that 4 teams, they make 1 team for next week that'll be out in Plymouth, and then the grade 8 team will be playing teams from Michigan, Wisconsin, North Dakota, Massachusetts. So there's a lot of teams that'll be coming in from out of state, and it's good to see how we compare. And a lot of these teams, especially Minnesota team, a lot of these players aren't committed yet. So where a lot of the players that are committed are not playing in this. So usually they don't play in this because they're already committed to a D1 college. But that's going to be next week. So if you're down in the cities, you want to see the top teams of 18-year-olds from Minnesota and all over the country, I would get out to Plymouth and see that. Plus they have 3 teams from the best 16-year-olds and 17-year-olds from Minnesota that are playing down there too. So it's just a great time. And I'll tell you what, a lot of recruiters from college, a lot of scouts from the junior USHL, North American Hockey League. And there's even some pro scouts that are there looking at the younger ones so they can get them, see if they can get on, anyone's good enough to get on the list for the draft for the coming years coming up. And some more National Hockey League news. Noah Cates, the UMD captain, who signed right after he lost in the regions out in Loveland, Colorado, when UMD lost to Denver. He signed a contract with the Philadelphia Flyers, but he's playing really good hockey. And last night, he's got 2 goals and 1 assist. So he's got, I think, 5 goals now already for the Flyers in a short time. So he's scoring more now in pro hockey than he did in college. That's great, though. So his style of play is, they notice that in the pros, 200 feet all the time and along the boards. So great for him. And going back to the Wild in St. Louis, talking about hot teams at home, why the home field advantage means a lot. The Wild have been 8-0-2 in the last 10, and St. Louis 9-0-1. And especially the Wild, they've been 12-0-1 the last 13 games. The last time they lost was March 13th at home to Nashville, 6-2. So, I mean, 2 hot teams, and they're going to play each other in the playoffs. And I tell you what, the team that gets the home field advantage might be the one that has the advantage in this playoff series. So that's going to start next week. We don't know the days yet, but I figure Tuesday or Wednesday of the following week here. So about the 3rd and 4th, probably. And it's going to be a great series. So that's it. A lot of hockey going on still. Playoffs for the juniors, playoffs for the pros. It's going to be Stanley Cup and a lot of hockey, like I said. So I want to thank PACT-TV Studio, Liz, Jim, and Vicky. And see you at the rink. There's a lot of hockey out there, so get to the rink and watch some of these kids and some of these junior and pro playoffs.